There's a new law in California for full refunds on Uber Eats, DoorDash, things of that nature. Let's talk about what it goes over, and it comes into effect on January 1st here. One of the big things it does is it says if you can't get your issue resolved promptly with the automated robot, you have to be able to correspond with a human being. So obviously that means that some of these Uber Eats companies are going to probably have to hire more people. The big thing that everyone's talking about is the full refund, though. If not delivered or you're delivered the wrong order, you are entitled to a full refund, which includes the gratuity, tip, fees, everything. That would be proportioned out. So if you got, say, the right sandwich but the wrong pizza, right, or something like that, then you would pay for the sandwich but not the pizza. But it doesn't really specify about not delivered, right? Or what is wrong food, right? If I said don't add tomatoes and you add tomatoes, is that the wrong food? To like a sandwich or a burger, which you could easily take off, but then maybe it's an allergy, right? They don't really delineate there. And if it says not delivered, does that mean, oh, you delivered it to my next door neighbor or you delivered it 5 streets away? Like, what does not delivered mean? And the other big aspect of this is when you get the refund, the delivery driver they're not allowed to take the tip away from the delivery driver. So you would get a refund on everything, including the tip, but the delivery driver would somehow still get their tip, which I'm confused by, because if the delivery driver, say they actually did deliver it to the wrong address and say it was clear that they should have delivered it over here, and then you get your refund, but they still get their tip? Yeah, right? Make it make sense. I read through the text of the law. It was not clear to me. I think these are things that will be fought over. And then it ends with something very interesting. And it says that the platform is entitled to kick users off if they have a reasonable suspicion of committing fraud or fraud being committed. When I see the word reasonable suspicion, words, not word, that reminds me of stop and frisk. And there was a very famous Crim Pro case called Terry versus Ohio, because reasonable suspicion from a Crim Pro level is a lesser standard than probable cause, which was the whole stop and frisk thing. And I believe the holding in that case for determining reasonable suspicion was that it had to be specific articulable facts, not just a hunch, that criminal activity was about to be committed by the person. So when I see that trigger reasonable suspicion, that's the standard I think we're basing this all off of. This is lesser than probable cause, which is really would a reasonable person believe that a crime was afoot? So it's less than that. It's saying, is there suspicious behavior when you kind of take the totality of the circumstances? And can you articulate that? And while I'm using this in the context of, the stop and frisk, those two words, reasonable suspicion, that is the standard. Let me know if you have any questions. I think this will probably be impactful, and I can see where the legislature was thinking that, okay, yes, people are entitled to talk to a person, and not just be confined to the constant robot, and also get a refund where they are entitled to. But I can also see ways in which this law is probably just going to cost everybody more money.